You ever wonder
Hello,
what makes
everybody.
a great
You are
gamer?
listening to Jealous
Great
Gaming on
gaming is not
Guardian
only about
Downcast.
cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down.
We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: community, news around the gaming industry and Destiny 2, and thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 275 of Guardian Downcast, the Destiny podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Todd the Gator, and I'm a day one Guardian who loves gaming and especially the Destiny franchise. We're the podcast that's all about your stories, your community, your destiny. In this live episode, our chat may notice a new layout for our special Roundtable show tonight. For those of you who may have just discovered our podcast, once a month we have a special episode I like to call the Roundtable. This is where I and my two co-hosts choose any story, blog post, news article, hell, even community gossip, as long as it relates to the things we all love to do, and that's game. So, in this episode, we'll first catch up and see what the three of us have been doing in gaming and entertainment and life. Next, I will briefly point out the highlights of this week in Destiny, which mainly pertains to the new Festival of the Lost Halloween event, which will begin next week. Bunty's added some goodies that I'm sure some of us might have opinions on. There's certainly been a lot of discussion in the Destiny chat channel of the Discord, I've noticed. Then we will begin with our topics of discussion, as each of us here tonight have chosen something that we think will create some good back and forth. And you know, I love a good discussion. If time permits, we'll hang out in the live stream for a bit as well afterwards. Anybody has any questions, anything they want to ask us or comment on, or just give us some feedback on, we welcome your input and thank you for your time with us tonight going live. So if everyone's ready, let's roll.
Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian Downcast. Or you can find us on our Instagram at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels Todd the Gator and his podcast guests want to share with you guys. We have a brand new website too. Just visit guardiandowncast.com, where you can find all of our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give our show a rating or review, search for any past episodes, or even give back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some GDC merch. And finally, you can send us an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out. And later, Guardian.
Okay, before we get into our topics tonight and a little bit about the TWAB, let's get into what everyone's been doing this week. Kingsley, if you don't mind, I'll start with you, man. What have you been up to this week in gaming, life, entertainment, anything you want to talk about, man?
Yeah, with gaming, continue to run the new dungeon a few more times in game. I really enjoy that. It's probably the main thing that's keeping me doing something in Destiny. I do some of the challenges here and there too. In other parts of life, I checked out a movie this week called Woman of the Hour on Netflix. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't heard that one.
It's the one, Anna Kendrick is in it, and it's her first directorial debut. Sorry, okay. I said that weird. Where it's the story about the dating game killer. Have you heard about that guy back in I think it was the 70s, but in California, and he killed a bunch of people, but he actually became a contestant on the dating game.
Oh, she was on the Tonight Show. I think Colbert maybe. I hadn't watched it yet. I noticed she was on, so she must have been plugging that. Cool.
Yeah. And great movie. The only thing that it almost seemed too short, especially in the actual part of the dating game interactions. But then again, I know they were short in real life because I've been to game show tapings before, and they're pretty darn short. But overall, fun story, kind of an interesting story about this guy, the serial killer that finally got caught. Anyone notice that we don't really seem to have that many serial killers anymore? It seemed like they were in the 70s and the 80s, maybe a little bit in the 90s. But we really don't seem to, at least any that are getting caught, have them these days.
No, I was going to say, we got too many school shootings and, people blasting in movie theaters with guns, No, the poor serial killers don't have any airtime now,
And I feel like, in a way, too, maybe because the advent of the internet or other things, that old school type of killing, you can get caught easier these days, too, I would assume. So it was kind of one of these things that, who knows? Anyways, it's a silly side topic, but
no,
good
I
movie.
understand.
Good movie. And other than that, not too much is going on of note. So I can pass it off to...
All right, RNG. So what have you been up to this week, man?
Not much.
Okay, moving on.
Life.
I'm just sorry. I'm going to do that every week, by the way.
Don't worry. And been catching up on episodes. I think I'm one episode behind on Agatha All Along and The Penguin. I'm enjoying them both.
You're liking the one on Disney Plus, the Agatha? I haven't watched that one yet. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not too kiddie.
I'm enjoying it. I liked I like the twist. I kind of figured out the twist, and so did my daughter and my wife. But nice. I'm enjoying The Penguin. I love. I forgot the episode came out. I'm one episode behind. I haven't watched this past Sunday's episode yet.
You're on 3 then, right? Because I just finished 3 too. So there's 4 episodes out now.
I think there's. I don't remember. I think there's 4 or 5. Yeah, I think it's 5. It's out now. Is what I think.
Nice.
But
my wife and I just saw
it's very good. The way the Penguin is.
It's very good.
Yeah,
it's HBO, man.
A very good job. Yeah. So, but other than that, no, just work, playing. Been playing WoW, and that's about it. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came out. I haven't had a chance. I got it downloaded on my Xbox. I just haven't had a chance to fire it up and try it yet. So, and then next week is Veilguard, so I'll be playing it.
Yeah, I thought I could jump on at midnight like the old days, when Call of Duty came out. Nope, I have to wait till 11 a.m. the next morning. I'm like, are you kidding me? Who put that rule in place? But I guess maybe they're doing that to keep the servers from getting flooded at midnight, like they used to. But I wanted to jump into Call of Duty Zombies so badly, but I have not had the chance to jump in. It's downloaded and ready. It's unlocked and ready to roll. So I'm probably going to jump on tonight after the show if I have the energy. So, but for me, as I mentioned last week, I've been playing a lot of Gambit, chasing that elusive god roll of the refreshed Bygones 390 adaptive pulse rifle. I did get some rolls though. Let me mention what I did have here. You that are in the know can probably tell me if I have a good roll or not, but there's certain PvP rolls I'm looking for here, but let's see here. Let's pull up Bygones. There we go. I'm not throwing away my year 2 one, by the way. It has to stay. But I've got a head seeker under pressure with Ricochet. I have one with Desperate Measures in Moment. That could be promising. I have another one with Desperado and Keep Away. Being that it's a pulse rifle, I'm probably not going to be in close combat, so that might be able to work in Crucible. Eye of the Storm, Perpetual Motion. Kinetic Tremors to the Pain. I'm thinking that would be a good PvE roll. Desperado Under Pressure again. Firefly, Perpetual Motion. Closing Time and Attrition Orbs. I'm thinking that might be good for PvE as well. Let's see. I got a Desperate Measures Keep Away and a Head Seeker Lone Wolf, which so far is the closest to my god roll. Lone Wolf, it looks very promising in Crucible. It might be better for, I mean, there's some perks in Crucible that give you that great opening shot. And Lone Wolf works even better if you're out of combat. And it's a pulse rifle, so it works perfectly with it. But it is slightly improves aim assist, aim down the sight speed, and airborne effectiveness, which I don't care about that. Increases these effects when there are no nearby allies, which I'm always trying to flank in Crucible. So and it has better perks if you get it enhanced. So so that's that. That has taken up a lot of my week, is just running a ton of Gambit. And now I have reset my rank in Gambit because last week had the extra XP. So now I get a possible 2 rolls. And if I reset it again, I'll have a possible 4 rolls on my 3rd and 4th column. So that's what I'm shooting for, to try to get that perfect roll that I can maybe switch off and use for PvE and PvP. But, other than that, I know we had to postpone the Vespers host dungeon. We were going to, us three were going to run it this week, but we're still going to do it. We'll probably try to slot it in next week. I'll be honest, man. I have been busting my butt this week. I had a big termite job I had to finish. Took me 2 days to do it. And, Milton just hit us a couple weeks ago, and it's been all hands on deck for me. So I've been good.
We just need to talk about it soon before it's off people's minds, give a review of it and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
I definitely want to do it. I've heard a little bit. I watched the day 1 dungeon race. So yeah. I'm looking forward to, I just want to see those dang servitors come out, like 10 or 12 of them at a time. I'm going to have that Nova Bomb ready, baby. But, as I mentioned in, past shows, I'm trying a new game every week, and I've been playing Balatro until Mr. Admiral Nips sent me a screenshot of his high score. Man, I got a long way to go on that game. I'm a little newbie compared to him. He showed me some of his score, and I want to give a shout out to, Admiral Nips and Fluffy Fingers MD. They're from the Potato Thumbs podcast. They sent me a t-shirt. They had a fitness contest, and I guess I won the drawing, and I told them I didn't want anything, but they sent it anyway. So this is the Potato Thumbs podcast new t-shirt. Man, they have the coolest t-shirts. I got to tell you, man, Fluffy does such a good job on all the artwork on that stuff. So, but I want to give them a shout out because, I was very surprised. I ordered some t-shirts through our Threadless, vendor for future shows, and, they haven't come here yet. But when I saw that package, I thought it was one of mine, and I was surprised. It was a Potato Thumbs one. So it was really cool. Let's see. I've been watching The Franchise on HBO Max. Loving that show. HBO's got some good stuff out right now. I started watching the drama series, The Diplomat on Netflix. I gotta tell you, this is a really good show. Think of Jack Ryan from like Prime Video, but Kerry Russell plays the Mrs. Diplomat, and she is badass. And I really like Rufus Sewell. He's been in a lot of movies, that I really like, and, like King Arthur, movies like that. And, he's her husband, who's just a troublemaker. And they're both ambassadors. So they're both seasoned ambassadors and diplomats. And he has to play not the diplomat, but the spouse of the diplomat. And it's kind of funny how he gets a lot done behind the scenes. But it's a pretty good thriller. You don't know who you're going to trust. There's a lot of twists and turns. And my wife even jumped in and said, well, how many episodes are you in? I'm like, 2. I said, they're hour-long episodes, babe. She goes, I don't care. I want to watch it. So now I had to postpone it. So it's on hold right now until she catches up. She's got to watch 2 of them before I can watch the next one. It's killing me because I love this show. And there's a new season coming out, I believe, in a couple weeks, if not out already. But, it's very much like The Crown, that kind of stuff. If you like The Crown, you'll love this kind of stuff. My wife and I went and saw a movie this week at the theater, thanks to my AMC Stubbs A-List membership. I need to flash a logo or something. Maybe AMC will give me a little money for it or something. I don't know. But, we saw the movie starring Michael Keaton, who is one of my favorite actors, by the way, who plays an art gallery owner who didn't spend much time with his daughter growing up. And now he's a dad again through a second marriage and has 2 young twins, a boy and a girl. And now he has his second chance to make things right, but he still has to make amends with his older daughter. And, Mila Kunis, was really good in that. She did a really good job. I don't want to spoil too much. It was a very moving stories, and my eyes might have been having a reaction to the air conditioner in the theater. I don't know what was going on, but I was tearing up a little bit at the end there. But
it's okay.
It was really good. It's a really good movie. And that movie, by the way, was called, I didn't even mention it. It's called Goodrich. It's an independent movie. You probably can wait for it to come out on HBO or whatever streaming service, but it's really good. I think Rotten Tomatoes has it at 77 critics, 88%, audience. I give this one 4 stars. Really well done indie movie. And like I said, I love indie movies because they don't play safe. They put movies out there that really can make a difference and really be good storytelling. So, we're going to be seeing Conclave with Ralph Fiennes and a huge cast of stars around him. about the politics and scandal that is possible in the process of choosing a new pope. 93% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So I think we're going to go see that tomorrow afternoon. And I may be waiting to watch the new Venom, The Last Dance. I think I'm going to wait for that one to come out on Disney Plus, since it's Marvel, right? I think it's Marvel. I think it'll be Disney Plus. It only got 35% from critics. So
I don't care. I don't care about critics. I'm still going to go see it.
I think I'm going to wait. It'll probably be on Disney Plus in a few months. And there's just so many other movies I want to see. If I have time and I've got a night to kill, it's free for us. So we'll have to see. I think that's it for me as far as, I'm really looking forward to playing Festival of the Lost, I love the seasonal events and stuff. So that's it as far as me. But I wanted to touch on something that's been kind of like gossip right now. Kingsley, you can jump in here. Paul Tassi put out an article, and it was, he called it, Destiny 2 is on the verge of its biggest scandal in history. And it's called, everyone I'm sure has heard about this. It's the weight gate. You know, the fact that they think that Bungie puts weights on all the RNG rolls, certain perks on weapons and stuff, and armor possibly. And, they did reply that, they do not weight their individual perks, but what they're finding is that it's related to bundled perks. So Kingsley, I know we've all kind of got what we want to say here. I'll let you kind of explain so far what's been going on, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, first of all, too, and he was just reporting. Other people found this out before him, but of course, you know, he's one of the biggest reporters in the Destiny sphere. But basically,
it was over the new dungeon grenade launcher, I believe. So it started all this.
Yeah, that's how it really got more top of mind for everyone, because people really wanted that role. Now there's interesting news that people have been guessing this for a little while, and we don't know how long, but I'll get into that real quick. But because of people really wanting the God roll for the new grenade launcher, they were running stats on, is this just RNG bad luck that we're not getting it, or does it seem like something more? And usually when people have said stuff like that in the past, and maybe not even necessarily just in Destiny, but other games, you always have to take that with a grain of salt, because people will get upset. And I've seen, you know, just drops in raids. For how often I raid, I really do see it kind of be that 5% that people will get the exotic for the raids that are 5% or whatever. But people are like, no, like, I didn't get in until run 50. Well, that's still a 5% chance. You know what I mean? Like, 5% means the average is around 20 runs, you know? Mm. So it can happen if you have bad luck. But people were really putting the stats together and saying, like, hey, we really think there's something more to this. It really seems like no one's getting these perk combos. And so people ran stats. They showed, like, great reasoning, like, hey, something's going on here. And because of that, everyone started jumping on board, like, this really looks like legit, you know, reasoning here. Please look at this, Bungie. And then people were saying Bungie kind of needs to respond to this, because if not, with the great reasoning behind it, then people will just not trust it or whatever. So sure enough, Bungie did respond to it, and they said they're going to look into it. Now, real quick, what was happening basically is in the API, when you have stats that are listed next to each other, there's like a column, you know, 2 columns. And when they're next to each other or one away, it's much more common to get those perks together. Basically, people running the numbers is like a 1 in 24 chance, right? But if the perks are 3 spaces away, and that's the max they can get, because think of it as like almost like a circle where it loops around. So, you know, the API shows 2 perks of columns, and let's just say we're starting with the middle perks, right? But if you go to the top one loops back around to the bottom one. So, but basically, if the 2 perks you want are 3 away from each other, then you have a 1 in 454 chance to get that, is what people were noticing. And they're like, so this isn't really RNG, because it's more common getting perks that are close to each other, and it's less common getting perks that are a little bit further away. And that's not RNG. If it was RNG, it would be the same amount no matter what perks, right? So people are like, okay, is it perk weighting? Is it something else? Well, Bungie, to their credit, and I figured they would, they looked into it, and then they basically kind of confirmed it yesterday, but they officially confirmed it today that, yes, it's an issue. Now, I even was thinking, and it's a bug, people, okay, let's give them some credit. I really don't think this is intentional. Things that are intentional never work out in the long run because someone will talk about it or whatever. And we even had like previous developers that got fired.
I was just going to say
standing up for Bungie. They were saying like, I've looked at the code before. There's no intentional weight perking. No. But that being said, it's definitely possible to have a bug, an unintentional thing. So to Bungie's credit, they're looking at this. They're going to fix it. And the big question now, though, is how long has this been going on for? I have my opinion, but like everyone thinks it's been happening at least since the final shape, but some people think it's been going on back to Beyond Light. I don't know if I quite believe that, because if you think about it, yeah, Bungie's fault for having this bug, but also kind of our community fault for no one really totally noticing it yet. So that's why I think if it just started in final shape and then really because of this new weapon that everyone wants to get, that's why we're noticing it more now. But I imagine also Bungie really does a good job with letting us know more info in the future. I bet they'll also tell us how long this has been going on for, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that.
Gator,
that's kind of the nutshell of it. Yeah.
I was just curious. Gator, you got any opinion on this?
Not really. I mean, I play, get the guns that come to me. I really never pay attention or do. I don't grind enough to worry about what perks fall where.
Yeah, I mean, I can get into it because I know there's some times I don't get the best luck on raid drops. And first,
this isn't raid drops. These are just perks.
Yeah, I mean,
the raid drops are still the same amount of RNG.
That's just it, because I don't know. I don't think it was intentional. Come on, give me a break. With all the 400 people they've laid off, you don't think someone would have spoken up and said something? I mean, they already ratted on the car collector out there who's still working at Bungie. But I don't know. I know when I've turned in like several Ingrams in a row, like for instance, in Gambit, if we're talking about this as a bug in all the programming, I got a lot of different roles. I didn't get a lot of similar roles. So I'm patient with Bungie here. I mean, it is a looter shooter, and you do have to worry about the integrity of the loot drops and how the RNG is. I mean, I can understand why some people are a little upset about this, especially if they spent hours and hours trying to grind this thing. So for now, I'm going to just kind of keep it quiet, not say a whole lot about it, and see how Bungie handles it. Cause my eyes are on Bungie. I want to see how they react to all this, So
yeah, I always have a nuanced view of these things. It's okay to be upset, but like as long as you're not like pulling your hair out, and it's okay to trust Bungie and know that they're doing their best and they're going to fix this. It's like be in the middle of the road about it, people. It's like, yes, it's concerning, and Bungie shouldn't have had a bug that big, but things happen. Every company has bugs, and I think they'll do a good job of letting us know what they're going to do to fix it. And it's not like we should totally ignore it either, but I just kind of present the info. And for me, like, I'm not too concerned either. Like, even if I was grinding like millions of the dungeon to get the role, and then I found out that's why I didn't get it, life's too short to worry about stuff like that. It is like, Bungie, get your shit together and get that fixed as soon as you can. But other than that, you don't need to be super upset.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And Jim Rayner in the chat says, apparently it's been only confirmed back to final shape release. So like I said, I'm going to just sit back. I'm going to evaluate things once I see how Bungie reacts to this and how they treat this problem. Wouldn't this be a good time for AI to jump in? I know that's very, very
hard to say.
I mean, they use AI for everything these days, it seems. Why not integrate and have AI recreate the RNG program? And I know it's spaghetti code. Maybe that's just a bad idea, but you would think AI, that's one thing AI could be good for. And for future gaming is having better or more perfect, or trying to be at least the best perfect RNG, I don't know, mechanic.
Here's what needs to happen. Again, it's like, we do know with some of the layoffs, they were more on the quality assurance side, which is very unfortunate. I think Bungie's actually doing pretty good not having even more bugs for the big portion of that team being laid off. But they need to do better with quality testing, and AI could be used for running not pen testing, but like testing against the code and seeing what might be wrong. And that, I wouldn't necessarily say have AI write the code yet, but do tests on the code for things like this.
Yeah, and Jim Raynor, I'm not a boomer. I'm a Gen Xer. Thank you very much. I'll disregard that comment. Okay. Hey, we've talked about this long enough. I didn't want to dwell on it too much. A lot of people have been talking about this. There's been videos released and everyone's been talking about it. So I actually want to move on, and let's get into the TWAB. It'll be a very quick just rundown of the TWAB, because there's some new stuff coming in the new seasonal activity next week, and I just want to mention that real quick. So let's get into that.
Yo everyone, this is Sweaty Spooks from the Blueberry Lounge, and you've been listening to
Guardian Downcast.
Be sure to tune in every week to see how the guests will score the speedrun, and better yet, join the Discord. You just may receive an invite to be on the show yourself. Later, Guardian.
This week in Destiny for October 24th, 2024. This week in Destiny, we're getting spooky. While we're already in the midst of spooky season, we've got Festival of the Lost around the corner to kick it up a notch. Friday will also be our first class-based trials weekend, which can help tide you over until our spooky seasonal event launches. So let's get into it. Real quick here. I mean, I'm going to just give you the highlights here of what is coming and some changes that are coming in the Festival of the Lost next week. First, Haunted Lost Sectors are back. What do you think, guys? I love Lost Sectors, man. No, I love Lost Sectors because you can jump in them, you can kill time, you can watch YouTube videos while you're playing them.
It's the same thing over and over.
Just grind out gear, man. That's what it's all about. RNG. All right, whatever. They're simplifying the book. Remember, you had to get those spectral pages and then turn them into manifested pages. That was a terrible mechanic last year. It's real simple. It's just manifested pages. You'll get them from the chest, and they say you'll get them also from other activities in the game. Real simple. Shoot enemies, get candy, buy stuff. It's real simple. They're going to have new wizard ornaments for all three classes. We've talked about this in past shows. They look pretty good. I'm going to work for them. There is a new heavy burst arc shotgun called Arcane Embrace. It's a 2-round burst. And while you're firing it, it also has a perk built in where it reduces flinch while you're firing those 2 shots. So for Crucible, this might be pretty cool. The returning Festival of the Lost weapons will also have all the updated new perk pool. So I guess I'm going to be grinding for that origin story with another perk, I guess, that the more modern perks these days. I don't know. I'll look and see on that stuff, but and I got to tell you, Festival of Lost is probably one of my favorite activities because we get to wear masks. And not only that, we get to collect masks. So they're going to have all kinds of new masks. If you want to see pictures of them, I'd rather be surprised, to be honest. But, Jim Raynor, the archetype is a brand new archetype of shotgun. Yeah.
Hey,
it's
I'm
a 2-shot
for that
one click. I'm curious.
Yeah. I mean, a new archetype. This is what scratches my itch is like the fact of there's a new archetype that'll get me to hop in this some.
Yeah. It's a new weapon type, so I'm gonna run and get it. I'm gonna have my mask on. I'm gonna collect all the new masks. I'm gonna make sure I got all that done. Here's one important thing. I'd had this highlighted. In fact, you can now buy your exotic class items with 2,500 candy and 1 Eerie Ingram at Eva. What do you guys think about that? The fact that everyone can just get their class item now.
I mean, it's good for those people who still can't find nobody to run dual Destiny with. I get it for that, but I still would rather run dual Destiny than grind candy. to get a class item.
What do you think, Kingsley?
For me, I kind of understand where they're doing it, but I think they just did it too soon. There's something that's just right about when there's a new way to get something, keep it that way for about a year. At least that's what they've done in the past. And I thought they've always had a good middle ground where you have to run Dual Destiny at least once, but then, yeah, you can get subsequent ones really easy by doing the chests or whatever. Well, they should have just made this too. Like, if you run Dual Destiny once, then you can get subsequent ones from Haunted Lost Sectors or whatever. I don't know. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I'm not thinking like, oh, these people don't deserve it, but I think it would have been better maybe next year doing it this way.
You know, this was a big discussion in our Destiny chat channel in our Discord this week. You know, whether people deserve to skip that and stuff. If you guys haven't run Dual Destiny, I've run it with Kingsley twice. It is a lot of fun. It is one of my favorite encounters in Final Shape. It's one of the favorite activities. I like it even better than the big one, the 12-man, not incisor.
Incisor.
What do I want to call it? Incisor. Well, what's it called again? Excision. Thank you. God. Yes. I mean, I love, you know, and I do not like timers, but it gives you enough time to have a little leeway. And I get to shoot Kingsley in the head at the end of the thing. It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Didn't I still kill you?
I think you did. I'll edit that
and
out.
I don't even play PvP.
That's right. I'll edit that out. Yeah. So 2,500 candy and 1 year engram. I like this because I've run my hunter through it and my warlock through it, but I have not run my titan through it. It's my weakest, character. And, so sorry, Fudd. It is my weakest character, but this is going to be nice. I can go ahead and unlock it where I can start getting rolls and stuff. So I like this change. The next thing that they're adding to Festival of the Lost, and this is very, very good news for me, is the super black shader is back. You got to complete the Ghost Rider event challenge, which is 15 of the event challenges. In other words, it's the book that you have to complete. Once you complete that, there's 15 challenges. You'll be able to unlock the super black shader, which I missed by like an hour on Into the Light. I was so pissed at myself. I was procrastinating. I came back at the last minute and realized I could not get enough onslaughts in to complete the track for Shax, you know, to reset it. I was so mad at myself, but I'll be honest.
This is a good change because, even though this one hasn't been a year, the fact that they took it away, you know, it's good that now it's coming back and
something to do.
I think this brilliant thing, you know, you could only get it into the light. So now that it's back, I think this is brilliant.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like, I tried on the super black shader. Warlocks have a lot of leather and cloth armor and it doesn't quite do it as well. But on Hunter and Titan, it looks fantastic. So for that reason, I'm going to do what I got to do to get it. Let's see, a new spooky emblem. That's pretty cool. Hurricane Relief emblem. They're still raising money for the Hurricane Relief. And now they are offering a cool t-shirt and I am getting this. I looked at it. It's $30 through, the Bungie, Foundation. And I'm definitely getting this. The proceeds go to more of Hurricane Relief, Team Rubicon. So I will definitely be getting that. Ubisoft has a partnership. They said it was a team-based medieval fighting game. Am I missing something here? What game are we talking about?
For Honor.
Oh, For Honor.
Okay. Yeah.
I forgot about that game.
So it looks like you can be Shax. You can, like, Shax and Saint 14 are in For Honor now. Like, you can play as them. I'm like, I would rather have that, or I'd rather have ornaments to play as Shax, and especially being a Titan or Saint 14 in Destiny. Come on. I don't play For Honor. Never have, never will.
I tried it for a while and it just strike parry. Just those kind of games I get bored really quick. And I know there's more to it than that. Don't at me. Okay. I like shooting games. It's what I've always liked. There's a lot of good videos, some really cool art in there. Player support report. Kingsley, what's going on with the player support report this week, man?
Yeah, I'll say it this time, but before I say it, I do want to say one quick thing that's super important to me. Ignition boss damage update. This is affecting things specifically, like the Song of Flame super with Warlock.
Yeah.
They made a change where it was already going to be less damage over time after the initial ignition, but there's a bug. It was only supposed to apply for the Vespers Host Dungeon boss, but it's applying everywhere, and they have a fix slotted for mid-November.
Okay.
So if your ignition damage is not doing as much as you were expecting, that is why. And let's just say shit's broken.
Wow. Gator, I'm going to convert him, man. Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Maybe not every week. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, you guys have to tune in and see if he's going to go with it or not. And we're done here for today, folks. Before I forget, how cool is this fashion rendition to Slipknot? Definitely deserving of a fashion emblem. We'll be sending their way. They all just look perfectly on point. No one was left behind. Only way it could be better is if this whole band of Guardians went on a rampage on a certain dungeon called Duality. Probably the only thing that slowly stops the ache. Anyway, where are our Festival of the Lost Mask? We've got a SIC ideal. All right, Destiny 2 community team. Thank you, Destiny 2 community team. Thank you for communicating with us again this week. I'm really looking forward to Festival of the Lost. It just looks like a lot of fun. It's just a good way to just chill and kill time, and that's what I like doing with these events. And everyone can do stuff. They can get bright dust. They can farm the bounties, like my bounties. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, boys, I think it's time. I think it's topic time. So let me take my mandatory bathroom break and we'll get back and get right into it.
Hello, everybody. You are listening to Jealous Gaming on Guardian Downcast.
All right, our first topic in the roundtable tonight. It's RNG Gator. You're on deck, man. What do you bring for us tonight?
I got a couple articles about some stuff that Call of Duty and Ubisoft have done that just kind of want to talk about. I did not know this, but with the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6, there is a built-in support for better audio, but here's the catch. It'll cost you $20 for 5 years of it. So you have to pay to get the new audio. Did not know this. I just happened to be on a website looking at topics, and this was one of them. And I just brought to my mind of, companies charging you for stuff like this in game. I don't know. I mean, I know I saw a TikTok today that kind of made fun of this. There's a guy holding us, the game. He's like, "Hey, I got the game. It's here. It's done." And he gives it to the boss, and the boss is like, cracks it in half. He's like, "Okay, got something. We're not going to release the whole game. We're going to release half of it now and half of it later and make them pay some absurd price to play the other half." He goes, "That's just dumb." The guy said, he goes, "No, hold on. I got a better idea." Breaks it into fours. He's like, "We'll break it into fours and make it look like we're giving them more content out throughout the year." And when he said that, the first thing that went through my head was Destiny. I couldn't help but laugh, but giggle in my head about it, like seasons and stuff. So, but I don't know. I just kind of find it dumb if I want better audio, in Call of Duty 6, I'm going to have to, Black Ops 6, I'm going to have to pay for it,
Well, it was
they named it pay to hear instead of pay to win. People were on Twitter saying pay to hear.
Pay to listen better. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man, playing Call of Duty, if you're playing at a high level, I mean, back in the day when they didn't have better audio and these upgrades and stuff, whoever had the best headset won because they could hear the footsteps so much better. And they crank up all the volume and you'd hear just the slightest little noise of a footstep. Someone was behind you. And if you're really good, you would know the footsteps of your teammates were a little bit different than the footsteps of your enemy and the really high level players, because Call of Duty isn't like Destiny Crucible. It encourages camping, if anything, because there's no all the time radar on. It doesn't encourage a fight like the Crucible does. That's why I love the Crucible so much. But yeah, I think this is, crazy, stupid, but you know what? No one has knocked Call of Duty off their reign. Other games have tried, like even Destiny Crucible back in the day was probably a good competitor. And, Battlefield for a time, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 came close to contending with Call of Duty, but never could topple them. And as long as they are on top, they can do whatever they want to us. If we want to play their game, we want to have all the advantages, they'll make us pay. And I'm not going to go down too much of a rabbit hole here, but I will just say This is the reason why I don't like these big gaming studios buying up all these smaller studios, because when it becomes a monopoly, when there's only 3 players in the game, we have less choice and less competition. We're going to have a lot of this crap coming down the pike. So get ready. So I don't like this idea. I think it's stupid.
Well, I mean, the reason I might try Black Ops 6 is because I have it with Game Pass. I didn't have it with Game Pass. I do like I've done every Call of Duty from here since after the early Black Ops, like 1 or 2. I haven't played them. I just don't, and I'm not going to spend my money on it. So, I mean,
yeah,
I got other stuff to play.
Zombie, I'm with you. Battlefield will be back, and I will try it, but I got burned on 2042. I'm going to have to see a lot of good gameplay before I buy that game. They're going to have to prove it.
There is a game that's coming out called Delta Force that's got kind of Tarkov mixed with Battlefield and stuff, and a campaign in it that looks it's free to play. And it actually looks quite interesting. You got the conquest mode of like Battlefield where you got spots everybody's trying to take. You've got a campaign. You've got a Tarkov, like a Tarkov light. You come in, extraction shooter, pick up what you can, get out type deal, stuff like that. It looks interesting. A guy at work was telling me about it. I didn't get in on the beta because I never got invited by the game. I put my email address in, but it never sent me anything. So, that's one game that's coming out that looks like it's combining a couple different ones into one. But yeah, I'm not paying $20 for better audio. If I don't hear you and I die, I just die. I don't play enough to pay $20, even if it is for 5 years.
Yeah. Okay. You had another story, I think, too. Kingsley, I'm sorry. Did you have anything you wanted to mention on that?
Not too much on that. I mean, I was kind of agreeing and laughing with that. I mean, don't most people just going to do audio through Discord or something anyways?
Or you figure out how to make it better yourself without having to pay $20.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
most people have, like Todd said, you have those headset or earbuds that are more.
Oh yeah.
I mean, technology is up there now. I don't see why you need to pay $20. I don't see it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the in-game sounds would be better, but yeah, it seems absurd what that is. I mean, luckily I don't care that much, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what people figure out.
Hey, before you move on, Gator, can we talked about this in our chat. Are we comfortable with our first names on chat, on live?
Don't bother me.
All right.
I'm great.
That's Mike Kingsley, and that is Chet as RNG Gator. And you know me, I'm Todd. So when we address each other as Chet, Mike, and Todd, now you guys will know which Gator we're talking about, just to avoid confusion in the future.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give it a try.
Once people learn our voices with the names, kind of like the way Space Mafia did. And once I started listening to it more, I know who's who now.
That's true.
So.
Yeah. All right. So what else is up on the board, man? What else you got?
Just another article I found was about Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed. Was it Shadows is the new one? They're actually cutting the collector's edition by $50 in lieu of them canceling the season pass, scrapped early access plans, and the game being delayed till next year. So it got dropped to $229 instead of $279 and no longer contains a handful of bonuses like originally announced. So, I don't know. It's the more and more I keep hearing about Shadows, I was interested in it. And then with it being delayed and now this, it's kind of like, why? Why are you dropping the season pass? Why are you scraping early access plans? Cause you were supposed to get it 3 days earlier if you bought the collector's edition. So, I mean, I want to say in this article, I couldn't remember, were they actually refunding people? I think I already made.
I don't remember that part.
Can't remember. I just can't remember where I read it.
I know it was what, $229 and they were taking $50 off. Is that right?
No, it was $279. Now it's $229. $229 is the new price.
I can get more detail about this too, because I'm actually still really excited for this.
You're into Assassin's Creed, yeah. You're into Assassin's Creed, Mike.
I'm not defending them at all, but basically, this is just kind of like some follow-up news of stuff we really only knew. So there's a couple of things people are forgetting. When they first pushed back the game, that's when they announced that they weren't going to have a season pass anymore. And basically what that means for an Assassin's Creed game, season pass means 2 DLCs, okay? But we are still getting at least 1 DLC, probably just 1. And the DLC everyone's getting for free, like everyone. The base game is going to be getting that DLC. So what they did was they canceled all the pre-orders of the normal versions, like all the digital ones. They couldn't, and they refunded all those. And they said, we'll let you rebuy them, coming up in the future. This special limited edition thing that comes with like the product and stuff, the collectibles. They didn't like send that money back, but they knew they had to lower the price. Hence what they're doing here, because they're not going to do the early release anymore, 3 days, and they're not going to have probably 1 DLC. So actually giving $50 back for 1 DLC and not 3 days early release, I think is pretty generous. What remains to be seen is, will there only be 1 DLC? Now, again, not every Assassin's Creed has even had DLCs. The latest one before this one also didn't have a DLC. Now, most probably will, the big ones. So the fact that this game is only going to have 1 DLC, I'm like, okay, I guess that's a little sad, especially if I like it. But what really is still the more important thing is how good the base game is. 3 days early access, that was kind of always a cash grab thing anyways. So the fact that they're not even offering that, I don't know. I guess if people really want to feel better about themselves, get it 3 days early, they could still in theory do that, come around this next February, but I don't think they're going to for whatever reason. They decided not to already. So I'm still excited for the game. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to be playing it either way. I think this was a good move. Like, people would have been mad if they didn't lower the price, but somehow now people are taking it as like a scary news also.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, if you have like Ubisoft Plus, like you do, Kingsley, you're going to play it anyway. It's like having Game Pass.
Yep.
I'll try it out. I'm not paying the full price for the game. I'm paying that monthly thing, and I can try out whatever games I want to. So why not? If I had Ubisoft Plus, I'd be sure I'll try it out. If I don't like it, I install it, go about my business, and do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to pay full price for the game, when it comes out, buy Ubisoft Plus for a month. Try it out for a month. If you don't like it, you paid $17 to $20 for the game and you're done, instead of $60 or whatever you have to pay it full price. So,
what do you? I'm not an Assassin's Creed player. I tried it long ago and it just wasn't my thing. What do you think about them taking the season pass out though, Kingsley? Is that a big deal in Assassin's Creed?
No, because like what I mentioned, all this season pass means is 2 DLCs.
Oh,
it's not,
that's what you said.
It's not a season pass like you see in Destiny.
That's what I'm thinking when you say season pass. Yeah.
No, when they season pass, they made like digital content.
Okay, sorry, my bad. I misunderstood that part. Okay.
I mean, it will often mean a couple other collectibles too. It doesn't just mean the DLCs, but it's not like a season pass like how we think about in Destiny or other games. So them taking that out, I really don't care that much, especially since they told us we're still getting 1 DLC. I think the big news that people are forgetting that didn't already hear the news about we're getting 1 DLC for free, everyone is now they're hearing season passes gone and are like, oh my gosh, but really that was already news a month or so ago. And then all that means is maybe they had plans for 2 DLCs originally. Now we're only getting 1, but everyone's getting the 1 for free.
Okay. Yeah, I have nothing to add here. This is not in my wheelhouse, so I'll keep my comments to myself.
I love Assassin's Creed games. I played them all the way up through Black Flag before I really fell off. So I used to love to play them things every year.
Great adventure exploration games, kind of like the Uncharted series, or styles like Ghost of Tsushima, or like
I just like the time periods it puts you in, like the one where you were in I think it was Revolutionary War, where you were the kid that was part like Indian or whatever. Remember that one with the tomahawks and everything?
Yeah.
That one I loved. I think that was Assassin's Creed 3. That's what that one was called. I love that one because it took place. I'm a history guy. I love history, and getting to go back and play and like during wars and stuff like that. It's cool to see it.
Okay. Anything else to add?
Not for me.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Thanks, Skater. Chet,
No problem.
thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks,
All right, let's move on to our next topic.
Hello, Scumdeath here, your favorite uncle, and you are listening to the most heavy metal Destiny podcast on Earth, Guardian Downcast. Guardian Downcast! Yow!
All right, Kingsley, you are next, sir. What'd you bring to the roundtable?
Yeah, thank you. I brought a topic that it's hard for me to define what to call it, but you'll understand it all when you start hearing me talk about it. But I'm kind of calling it like community internal gatekeeping, and how we all need to, well, we don't all, but a lot of us need to do better with this. So I just kind of wanted to start off with talk about how, like, often people will get concerned or worried or upset, or worse, even think it's like a bad idea when someone wants to leave a game, or even talk about what they perceive as negative things about a game, and they don't like hearing that. And really, it's a bigger issue than even just gaming. If people want some more examples, like, you see this in a lot of areas of life also. For example, like religion. I used to belong to a certain high demand religion, and when you leave, people think you're a pariah, right? But that's just taking it giving this personal example and stuff. But of course we see this in clubs, politics, everywhere, and especially gaming, So, another way to look at this, and another example, is when people say that streamers or reporters should not be shitting on a game. It's not that simple. Look, streamers and reporters, and even us podcasters, it's perfectly okay to talk about issues going on with the game, right? There's never a reason why there should be controls put in place that tell us or streamers or reporters what we should be talking about. Like, only talk about positive things about the game. Don't talk about the negative things, or else you're complaining, right? Otherwise, you're kind of gatekeeping this information. You don't want people to talk about negative things, right? Mm-hmm. And again, it's okay for people to have opinions also. Usually with reporting and streamers, the way I see it is they hear about some news. There's a segment where they just present the info. And then if they decide to present commentary on it also, they usually switch hats, and then they start talking about how they feel about it, right? Yeah. So, again, anyone who thinks that they shouldn't be talking about things, it almost seems like they're trying to hide or protect information. I often hear people say, like, when they hear streamers or reporters talk about something, they say, oh, they're just complaining, they're shitting on the game. But then usually I'll go and I'll actually read that article. In my opinion, I don't really see it that way. Like, I actually saw them presenting facts as best as they could. And usually there's very little commentary. I often wonder, maybe are people just feeling like they're taking it personally? Like, oh, they're talking bad about the game that I love, so they're taking it personally? I don't know. But what's more, when people say that they're complaining, I kind of like almost laugh inside. I'm like, well, you're complaining about them complaining, so you're kind of complaining too, right? So I don't know. This is just a little pet peeve of mine, something that I think we can do better. I mean, yeah, let's bring up specific points if we don't agree with something that they're saying. It's okay to have, like, kind arguments, things we disagree with or whatever, but we don't have to just go to a base idea like, oh, they're shitting on the game or they're complaining or something like that. I think in our Discord communities, we're mostly good with this, right? I've not seen really too many people say, like, oh, don't talk anything bad about the game. I mean, yeah, we can get in heated discussions where sometimes we have to tone it down a little bit, but I think we're pretty chill for the most part in our Discords. But I do think it's something we should always keep in mind, and this can lead into other topics. I don't know if we get into in other weeks, but Discord etiquette in general. But that's just my quick little topic for this week. What do you guys think on that?
You want to go first, Chet?
No, go ahead, Todd.
Well, I'm well, my name's right there on the badge. I saw this today on Twitter. There was a there was a post where he was talking about how he was upset with the Wakegate. That was the hot topic. That was what was trending in the Destiny community on Twitter today, X, whatever. And people said, I thought you left the game. Why are you talking about this? You left the game. Like you disgraced us and that part, I kind of feel that's, we gotta be a little more mature and be more open-minded to hear other people's points of view. And the only thing where I have a problem with this, and I'm probably being a total hypocrite here, is when Destiny content creators have to announce, I'm leaving Destiny. I quit. And it's just so clickbaity that it just turns me away. I love Destiny. I love the game Destiny. And it's really hard for me to watch videos just shitting all over it. It really is. And, but I did watch this video, this particular person. There were several that put out videos like this. And, some of them I can tell it was just clickbait. They were just complaining and moaning how this, Destiny's not doing this or not doing this. And I'm just so tired of it and stuff. Is that really content? Is that really content? Is it?
Real
Sorry,
quick. I mean, are they not supposed to talk about it?
No, I understand.
They can talk about their lived truth. And since they're streamers, everything they get paid for is clickbait. So it's like, are they not allowed to talk about it because you don't want to hear about it? I mean, I only see something as complaining unless people are like using really complaining words all the time. Like, I hate this game. It's no fun, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, I give people the benefit of the doubt.
Like I said.
Exactly. I'll listen to it. And then if they get to a point where it's just, they're saying whatever hot topic anybody's saying in their video, then that's clickbait. But actually making a point, I'll listen to them and everything. I mean, I said everybody's got their opinion. If you don't want to play Destiny or whatever game you're talking about no more, and you make a video and people listen to it, they listen. If they don't, they don't. I mean,
I've heard this with leaving religion too. People have said, "Don't talk about it if you leave; just leave quietly." But that's people that don't want to hear it. If you don't want to hear it, don't listen to it. But I'm allowed to talk about my experiences.
Exactly.
Why I left religion. You're allowed to not listen to it. You know what I mean? So
exactly. Yeah.
Well,
you have your opinion. I mean, you vote a certain way. You voted that way. You can talk about it. I don't have to agree with it, but
exactly, yeah,
I can listen. But I mean, it is what it is. It's the same thing with games. I mean,
yeah, Well, I guess my point on this particular example was, it was just a bummer spiral. There was really no discussion. It was just him shitting on the game and talking about how Bungie's not doing this, Bungie's not doing that. And just, there was nothing redeemable from the video. And I don't know. Like I said, I've never put a down thumb, whatever, a thumbs down on any video, but that was one I actually did, because I thought this has nothing to do with the point you're trying to make. All it is you just sitting there and not even complaining, but just talking about all the negative things. And sometimes I'll have guests on the show that it's just like I don't know, they'll just be down on something and I'll get comments. People say, that didn't really add any value to the show. And I think twice sometimes, when I'm thinking about bringing guests on. And if it's something that doesn't contribute to the show and it's wasting people's time, then I'll cut it. I won't put it in the show. So I don't know. My biggest thing was content creators that are Destiny content creators that are throwing the announcement flag up that I quit or I'm not doing Destiny anymore. And that's fine. I understand. We all want to play different games. Hell, even me. I'm playing Balatro. I'm playing Call of Duty Zombies tonight. I'm going to be playing Ghost of Tsushima very soon. I'm playing other games. I don't want people to crap on me because I'm not playing Destiny all the time. But I'm trying to expand my repertoire of games and not just play Destiny, because what I'm worried about, and this is what I worry about players who get ridiculed for leaving games, is they're just going to get burnt out on the game. And that doesn't help anybody. So, people that leave our community to take a break, I'm like, you know what? Good for you. You knew when to back out and take a breath and then regroup, play other games, have other experiences. And then when you're ready, come back and play Destiny again. I have no problem with that. But these videos that are just just spiraling down the drain, adding no value to the video at all, I just can't stand those videos. Yeah. They just bug me.
It's a very valid point, and I'm not saying there's not anyone that doesn't complain.
Sure.
But I always like to take this nuanced approach, as you know, with me, and I think we can all do a little bit better if we give people the benefit of the doubt. There's obviously going to be videos that are super negative, but a lot of people will say that even for videos that aren't super negative, just because they feel personally attacked. Yeah. So it's something to keep in mind there. And then also, if something is super negative, you don't even need to complain about that. Just stop watching the video,
Yeah.
Because you complain about that. I know you're not right now, Gator, but if you complain about that, you're adding to this complaining mentality in the universe, So you can say you don't agree with it, leave it at that. It's just a pet peeve of mine. People can do whatever they want. Go ahead and complain. But it's one of these things that it's just kind of been on my mind. But if you want to say any last word, you too, I'm done with that. So.
Well, I just wanted to add a couple other points I want to mention. You mentioned real life situations and this part of the gang mentality in politics, life, religion, other things. I mean, I've never seen the United States so divided in all my time on this earth. And I'm not going to get political. I'm just saying that if someone throws it out there that they're supporting a certain candidate, it's like they get marked. All of a sudden they're marked. I've seen families break up, don't speak to each other because of stupid political candidates. In the grand scheme of things, whoever gets elected in the past, whoever's gotten elected that I'm like, oh God, hold on. It's going to be a rough ride. We end up okay. So as far as that goes, but I tell you what, I see it in my industry as well. I'll give you a prime example here. I'm going to turn my volume down because I think I'm a little tight. I'm a little tight here. The pest management industry I'm in, there is a tug of war right now between what is called green pest control and more conventional methods of pest control and pest management in controlling pests in Florida and the United States for that matter. But I'll see where I will mention my methods and some people will brand me as killing the environment and hurting the public, which is just total nonsense. But I'll just see it in their eyes whenever I bring it up in conversation. People are very opinionated and tend to stick to their side of the argument. And it just boggles my mind that people aren't even open-minded enough to even hear the other side of the argument or why I use conventional methods versus green methods, using natural bacteria to control caterpillars and, things of that sort. It's like they won't even consider thinking of any other method to control their pest problem around their house. And I think what it is they either feel like if they do listen to the other side, they're going to feel stupid or embarrassed about what they were clinging so tightly to. I think that's the biggest fear in America right now. I don't know, but I can't speak for the rest of the world, but in America, people are so worried about looking bad or being on the wrong side or having the wrong opinion or clinging to the wrong ideals that they just they just hang on to their side. And we even have different news channels now, which is unheard of, that talk about different aspects of the election and it's amazing when you watch these two separate channels, how different views, how totally different it is. And people really stick to their side. I'm not going to get any more political than that, but I will just say this. There are companies out there that offer green pest control. And I will tell you this, I've been doing it for nearly 30 years now. I've tried green pest control. I've tried natural methods to control pests, but we're in Florida, brother. We have bugs on steroids here. Now, maybe in Vermont, where you see bugs maybe in the summertime and everything dies from the frost in the winter, but in Florida, it's the jungle, baby. And those methods just don't work here. So from trial and error, and I'm my own boss. I can try whatever I want. If there's a new product out, I'm always buying it and trying it. Even the sales rep will give me a free product sample or something to try out, and I'll try it, and it utterly fails. But I will still have people I'll pull up and I'll realize right away that they want green, natural, organic pest control or pest management around their house. And it's something that I can't guarantee will control their problem. So, Zombie pops in here. He's a fellow pest management professional in North Carolina. He can attest to this. Yeah, chemicals are bad. Don't spray near my house. Well, I hate to tell you. Would you rather have a barrier outside your house that stops those roaches, or do you want to wake up in the middle of the night with a roach crawling on your face? And let's not negate the fact that roaches carry disease, and they'll be in your trash can outside carrying that bacteria and put it on top of your countertops. This isn't a pest control podcast. I'm not going to get into it, but I will talk shop if you let me. But that's my point, though, is people will be so stuck on green pest control. They'll put these sonic monitors in their house thinking that that's going to stop the pest because they saw it on TV. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work in Florida. Maybe in Vermont, maybe in Washington State, but it doesn't work in Florida. But I will see people just grip onto that part of the equation. And that's just a real life example. I thought of that when we were talking about what you were going to talk about tonight, Kingsley. And
love it. And I believe you when you say, like, if for some reason in the future they did have some magical green thing that was a lot better, you would consider it. But you know what's best right now because you're the professional. You have that experience. Yeah. My family, my father-in-law, he's a pediatrician, a doctor, and he has a lot of experience with stuff. He's just retired, but like you kind of know when you're really into an industry, you know. If you're into it, you kind of know your stuff. It's funny you mentioned the sonic things. We had a gopher problem recently.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Yeah. The first thing we tried, because I think it was more the wife's idea. I'm not trying to put any shame on her, but we tried one of those sonic things we got from Amazon, the little sticks you put in the ground. Yeah. And supposedly it's a sound that'll scare them away. Yeah. It didn't work. Now, do you think those could work ever, or probably like very unlikely they're going to work? Just as a side
it's point? Probably not at the frequency that they care about. Now, I tell you, I tell you, I've used home remedies before. You know those little windmills that you buy, those garden windmill, those little not weather vanes, but the little sunflower wind things that turn on a metal stick. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have had people try sticking those in the four corners of their yard, and it will keep moles out of their house. I'm out of their yard. Moles are very territorial. One mole can be an acre.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but basically we hired a professional eventually because it wasn't taking care of it. And the professional, they try to do it where they put traps and they try to catch it alive and release it off in a field somewhere or whatever they do. But
right.
They said we can't guarantee it. And they did catch the gopher and showed me, and it was dead. And we were like, no big deal. You know, like in theory, it would be nice if they could catch it alive and release it somewhere, but we're not going to be like, you killed the gopher. And like, we were just happy to have the issue taken care of, you know?
I hear you, man. I hear you.
And the professional took care of it, and we don't have any new holes or mounds. So we're really happy.
There's, like I said, this isn't a pest control or pest management podcast.
Hey, but it's fun to get off on the
It is. I will bring us off on a tangent if we do. But no, great topic, Kingsley. Chet, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm closing out the show. We'll do that right after this. Remember the days of listening to your favorite radio station and chilling out by the pool, or maybe rocking out in your car singing to those songs you knew by heart on the way to work, only to be interrupted frequently to annoying ad breaks? Today, it seems like there's just as much advertising as there is music, and why podcasts have become so popular. But I see more and more podcasts following that same trend, and it seems the corporate machine is slowly intruding into your listening space. This is why podcasts are so great, because we don't have to accept this, and thanks to our Patreon community, we won't be placing any outside ads or promotion into our show. So continue to enjoy our conversations ad-free. If you would like to join our Patreon community, check out GuardianDowncast.com and hit the Patreon button to find out more and how you can help out. Later, Guardian. And then there was one This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. And I know my friends don't listen or watch this podcast, so I'm not worried about calling them out. They won't know, and I'm not going to mention their names. But before I get into that, I did want to give a shout out. The Guardian Hub, which ran their last show last week. It was a really good way to go out. Really classy way to do it. They had a live show in their Discord, and anybody who wanted to jump in and say a few words, it was really, really well done, guys. But the Guardian Hub,
and Gator, that was really kind of you.
Oh, not a problem, man. Not a problem. But, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a shout out. The Guardian Hub, if you haven't listened to their last show yet, it is out on, whatever podcast feed you guys use out there. So, yeah, really had a great time listening to you guys all these years. And, like I said, I remember back in the olden days, Hazel and I would always comment on your shows. I think we were pretty close to the same amount of time when we released, and then you guys staggered it a little bit. So we were able to sometimes listen before or after, but, it was always a good time. So I just wanted to give you guys a shout out. That was a fantastic show. So, okay. I am here to tell all of you as fellow gamers that we have a distinct advantage over our boring vanilla friends and family who think gaming is for kids. As an older gamer, I might be a little defensive here as I encounter that look whenever I mention that I produce a gaming podcast or that I manage a gaming community. You know, sometimes I'll say, well, hey, maybe I can impress them by saying that I'm a partnered YouTube content creator. That'll soften the blow of their predetermined judgment in their eyes, but nope. Sometimes I really feel like an odd nut out there. I really do. Some of my clients actually know that I game and are really cool about it. Hell, I was talking to some older clients, think mid-60s, like nearing retirement age, husband and wife. And when I mentioned my gaming, they told me that they both play fantasy and survival games like Dead by Daylight and Resident Evil. And they even said one of the husbands said that he played a ton of Bloodborne. And I'm like, dang, that game was tough. And these 60-somethings aced it? You can really be surprised who plays games online these days. But here's the stats according to Google. The kiddos, which are under 18, make up 20% of all gamers. 18 to 34-year-olds, which are the biggest group, by the way, make up 38% of all gamers out there. 35 to 44-year-olds make up 14%. 45 to 54-year-olds make up 12%. 55 to 64-year-olds make up 9%. And if you're older than 65, you make up 6% of the player base.
Oh, wait, no.
I knew there was going to be a comment on that. So, I mean, it doesn't take any math genius to figure out that I'm at the bottom 15% of all gamers out there in the world. That's depressing.
You're not in the 6?
Well, I mean, I'm at the bottom. I'm at the 65 and the other one. I'm not going to mention it. That means that only 15% of us that discovered one of the first gaming consoles, which was the Atari 2600, still enjoy gaming today. What am I missing here? Gaming has so many benefits to all of us, especially to us older gamers. And it is so apparent whenever I'm around my buddies my age. Some of them are a little bit older. I mention something like Discord or Reddit, audio or video editing, or even Destiny 2, or I might even mention Call of Duty. And I feel like I might as well be talking Japanese as it just goes right over their head. I get that blank stare and like they don't know what to say. It's the weirdest thing to experience. I have a nameplate on my desk that my wife and kids got me a long time ago. It says, I'm kind of a big deal. And I know it's an inside joke that my wife and kids got me over the years. And, I actually have it right here. So you guys can see it. I'm kind of a big deal. Don't mean that. Don't clip that. But it reminds me to keep my ego in check every time I look at that little plaque. But I tell you what, sometimes I feel like I might be a big deal because I consider myself kind of having a superpower as a gamer. There are many reasons why I say this, but because I game, I can, one, problem solve without getting too frustrated. I'll give you my big termite job I did this week as an example. I just finished this 2 days ago. I had a big estate home. They had these little termites eating apart this house in the door frames and the baseboards, hell, even probably in some of the truss work, just piece by piece tearing this house apart. That's some scary shit. You know, that wood doesn't replace itself. It has to be replaced completely, which costs tens of thousands of dollars to do. But when I approach a house, I treat it like a game. The first thing I do is I break the house down into organized parts. We got the porch. We got the kitchen. We got the bathrooms. We got the main living areas. And then we got the garage. Just like I would break things down, I'm trying to figure out in a game like Balatro. That game really works my brain, I'll tell you. But also, like when I'm playing a raid, I'll break down all of the encounters and what jobs I need to do on each encounter the same way as I treated this house that I'm taking care of as far as the termites. Being able to problem solve that way makes my job so much more fun and enjoyable, and sometimes I really love my job. Another thing it does is help with my memory. Now, don't laugh. I know I can't remember half the terms in Destiny, but I bet you that I could identify 85% of the weapons in Destiny if you were to ask me them by name. Looking at you, sweaty spooks. It's your move, buddy. If I was to live in a lifestyle that a lot of my friends at my age do, it's plopping down with a beer every night watching the game, I really think my memory would be so much worse. So if anything, I think gaming has at least slowed my cognitive decline. But how about our community? I love all the different types of gamers that make up our community. I love talking with them and learning about their lives, and even better, doing a raid or crucible or even a clan night, playing Iron Banner. It's gold. I can imagine there are a lot of people my age out there that are lonely out there in the world. And if I could just be a fly on the wall and just grab them and introduce them to these awesome gaming communities that we all jump into these days, I bet that he or she would find something new in their life that would get them excited to jump in like a game after work, even if it was only for an hour or so. Community is awesome. The main reason I still love the game these days is, one, I love to challenge myself, which, hey, we're gamers. We all like to do that, right? But more importantly, it helps me reduce the stresses in my life, which we all share. Life can sometimes get really real. Jumping into that video game world, it just melts away all the internal dialogue that stresses me out all the time. Gaming has really been instrumental in balancing things in my life, and I still say this today. A good life is all about balance. We're not always perfect with our balance of roles and responsibilities in our lives, but I think gaming really helps. Life can be very hectic, and gaming is really good at slowing it all down for me. Now, there's a bunch of other things that studies have touted to improve people that game, like brain plasticity, motivation, engagement, cognitive enhancement. But the one thing I have to attribute to gaming that I'm so grateful for to this day is keeping my eye-hand coordination. When I was 8, I played my first Little League game. I had to learn how to connect a ball with a bat coming at me at 50 to 60 miles an hour. Hey man, I was 8 years old. That might as well have been 100 miles an hour. If I think about it back then, it still feels like that. As I got into my teens, I had honed that skill, but now the pitches were coming at me at 65 to 85 miles an hour, and I loved it. If I look back at my life, one of the best feelings in the world is connecting that bat in that sweet spot and watching that ball sail. Top 10 moment of my life for sure. I was a shy, terrified little kid, but I felt fantastic whenever I solidly hit the ball like that. When I was playing my company softball league, I was still hitting softballs over the fence and not using shaved down bats like my 20-somethings did. I used a good old-fashioned aluminum bat, plain and simple. I remember one time the silence that fell in the dugout when I would hit an opposite field home run. For those of you who don't play baseball or softball, it's when you hit a ball on the weak side of your swing. If you're right-handed, for instance, your power is hitting the ball to the right side of you, like third base. But if you have the right coordination, you can actually push the ball to the left. The pros do it all the time. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of coordination, a lot of eye-hand coordination. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic, but I started playing first-person shooters in 2007 with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I really think that playing those games really helped me to keep that very valuable skill to me. It's why I really love the Crucible so much in Destiny 2. My brain is on fire trying to keep up with the younger players, but in time, you learn to adapt and play the player, not the game. It's why I consider Crucible my modern chess game. but in half-second increments, right? Really quick. So, in closing, I just want to remind all of you, no matter what your age, being a gamer is badass. And if you continue to play like I have all these years, you may be surprised how much of it you still retain from when you were a younger adult. Now, if y'all will just look over here, my 8-part series on how to also be a big deal. Just send me $499, 4 easy payments of $124.99. You too can be a big deal. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
Love it.
That's what's been on my mind, and I'm curious what you guys both think about this.
Well, of course, I agree with it. I mean, I was trying to think any nuances of it. I do feel like people that are older, maybe if they're not into games or back before video games were around, there are still ways to stay somewhat sharp. Like if you think about constantly reading books, doing crossword puzzles, things like that. But there is more to gaming also, right? I mean, it's like a constant visual in front of your face that you're seeing different things, and you need to interact to each of these things all the time.
Yeah.
Or you can play a lower end game that's not as fast paced, or a higher end game. The hand-eye coordination thing is interesting too, because I think there's some nuance there also. Like, I've never been really good at like the physical, like catching a ball or something like that. But in games, and I'm still not good these days, even after playing video games many years, but in games, I can make do in a different way. And even over, as I've gotten a little bit older, and we all lose a little bit of our quick reaction time as compared to when we were younger.
Yeah.
And I have like really, really like minor arthritis issues that are starting to creep up. Mm-hmm. But you know how to deal with it because my brain is staying sharp, where I know I may not be able to like click the fire button as quickly, but I know how to get around it. I've learned through experience, and I'm always constantly, when I'm playing in arenas, know where to find cover, know how to stay alive. So if the ads or other people, the rare case I'm playing PvP, are shooting at me, I know where that cover is. I know things that I can do that even though I'm not as quick on the offensive side, I can play my defensive side really well. And so yeah, I agree with all those points. And I think it's awesome too if we can get people our age or even older than us into this. I think people are somewhat open to the idea. Maybe we can get our parents on like some mobile games, and then maybe I kind of doubt they'll really want to sit down and play on a console or I don't know, maybe they will. Maybe get them a PS5 when they're just sitting on a couch or something. But
yeah,
there's a chance. I'm kind of surprised too, like what things can, like my parents.
Yeah,
they've always been okay with computers. They get around them fine, but I always didn't have an impression like they like to do anything with gaming or computers. But then all of a sudden I found out my mom, she loves crafting, and she has like this knitting thing, and she made a YouTube channel, and she has over 5,000 followers now.
Wow, dude, that's awesome.
And she just talks about like doing stuff, and she goes to like conventions across the US, and people know her and meet up with her, and
I love hearing that.
And I don't even get into that stuff. Like, it's funny, when she first was starting, she was asking me, like, how do I edit this video on YouTube? And you know more about this too, Gator, than I do. But, like, that stuff bores me. Like, I can tell you how to fix your computer, but I can't tell you how to edit a video good for YouTube. So, sorry. But she figured it out, and she knows that stuff way better than I do now. And I give her major props for that. So, yeah, technology, gaming in general, I think it's just another means to give us something to work on, to focus on. Anything's better than just watching TV movies. I mean, that's fun too. You got to do that, but interactive stuff is always better.
Yeah, good points. Man, I know that about your mom. That's pretty cool. Chet, what do you think, man? Has gaming really helped you keep a lot of your skills through the years?
Oh yeah,
I know you're getting up there too.
Oh yeah, it has. It has really helped. But I mean, I see it from an IT perspective and doing what I do. Yeah, so how many times I hear this in a week, in a day, and I know Kingsley's heard it. People come in, I'm not technology savvy. Technology scares me. You know, me and technology don't get along. And that's those older people you see, so they're not going to get into an Xbox or PlayStation PC because they're going to look at it and be like the same reason you don't play keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
You're used to controller. They're used to what feels like home to them, and what feels like home to them is not playing the games and everything. And then they look at all these other younger people than them playing in. Like, how can you're 40 years old? Why aren't you doing something else with your life? You know?
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I see where they're coming from there, but like my mom and dad, there's no way on God's green earth I could get them to play a game. It ain't gonna happen. I'm not even gonna try it. It's just not. It's not their thing. My mom has enough trouble. She keeps bugging me about her computer. She's like, I can't upgrade to Windows 11 because your computer won't go to Windows 11. I've looked at it. If you want a computer on Windows 11, you're going to have to buy one. Your computer won't run it. You know.
Hey,
so,
Chet,
I mean,
do you ever feel like with the IT things, sometimes people just like they could figure out basic things, but they give up too easily, right? It's like it's like a car. Like if your car won't start, anyone, even if you're not into cars, you could think, well, do we have gas? Is the battery on and stuff? Like, if a computer won't start, can you at least check and see if the power cord's plugged in or a couple basic things? It's not like you have to be super techie to do basic troubleshooting. It's just basic logic. You kind of try one thing, you try another thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, tell you, I don't expect you to take the thing apart and
of course
reset your memory or reset your battery, you know. I'm not expecting you to do that, but basic stuff. Like most people don't understand. You bring me your computer, it's not working. I'm going to sit there with your computer sitting over here while I'm on my machine Googling what the area is so I can see if anybody else has ever run into it. If I don't know it right off the top of my head, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Big Box had a good question here. I mean, we've been talking about all the positive things in gaming. He says, curious to think if there are any negative consequences to gaming. Oh, absolutely. It's like everything in life. It's balance. I'll tell you just a quick story here. When I first got married, I was so addicted to Call of Duty. It was an addiction. Plain and simple. I was addicted to playing. I had just learned about first person shooters. My son got me, introduced me to Call of Duty 4 and I couldn't put it down. It was such a revelation to me. And I mean, I'm a gamer. I've played games in my past. But first person shooters, man, it lit something up in my brain. Maybe it's that dopamine that they know how to manipulate so well. But it almost killed my marriage. It almost did. There was a point to where we were having a come to Jesus meeting quite frequently. And I think if my wife didn't care enough to shake me out of it, we'd probably be divorced today. I'm being honest. We would. And sometimes it takes someone that loves you, that really cares about your well-being to make you see what's not, where you're so close to it, you don't see it. All you see is, oh, I gotta get the diamond camo on my UMP 45. I gotta get it. Yeah, babe, I'll be right there, babe. I'll be right there. Yeah. How many times have we done that? How many times have someone walked in, and I still do it to this day, and my wife nearly smacks my ass when I do that. So when I try to do, and my son has helped me with this, when someone comes and approaches me in the office, I will place down the controller, I will turn around, and I will address them eye to eye. Do I always do it? No, because sometimes I'm in the middle of a raid and I gotta get the DPS down on the boss. There's no pause button on Destiny, damn it. But you get my point. There are certainly bad things, and it's like anything in life. If you can do too much, if you water a plant too much, you can strangle those roots and kill it. That's a good example. If you do anything, if you overwater a plant, if you play too many video games, you don't have enough time for your family and for other people in your life or yourself to get away from the screen and take a break and go talk to some people in your house. Mm-hmm. You're just down the road. You're gonna pop. So, first-hand experience, folks. I can tell you, it can be an addiction. It can be a problem. So, Big Box, that was a good question. Good question there, man.
And you can be addicted to bounties.
No, that's something that never goes away. There'll always be bounties in Destiny. Yeah.
Oh, so, yeah. It's everything. Yeah, we're saying makes sense. I mean, we all agree, gaming, and yeah, you can go overboard. It's like anything. I don't know if I can think of really any other downsides other than the obvious one of overdoing it. Like you could overdo anything in life. Yeah. Some people will probably try to tell you incorrectly that it's easier to get addicted to video games or they're worse for you than other things. I wouldn't listen to those people with just straight ideas. Like, if you're unsure, talk to a professional counseling, like see how much you're playing compared to other people. Cause there are people that don't like video games and will use that as a reasoning. And they would see even someone playing like 1 hour, like a couple times a week, you're addicted. And so that's not necessarily true, but, definitely, it's something to be mindful, but, I think there's way more positives than there are negatives.
I'll give you a positive here. Chet, I'll cut you off if you want to say something too, man.
No, you gotta go ahead.
Before I even did podcasting, any of this stuff, I was watching Dad Tells podcast, and I shout out to Potato Thumbs podcast. They had the distinguished gentleman on this week. It was a great show, Fluffy and Admiral Nips. I was wanting to find an adult, like a dad's gaming, clan and place to hang out with other dads that like the game, and I ran into this podcast, which I didn't even know what podcasts were back then, called Dad's Tales Podcast. And I got to know these guys personally. And you know what I did? I think I came in on like episode 85. I went all the way back to episode 1. I wanted to hear everything about these guys. I wanted to know really what they were all about. And there's some stand-up guys, let me tell you. And they always laughed. They always had fun during the shows and stuff. And that really made me feel good. Anyway, my point is that once they decided to quit, I didn't want that feeling to go away. So that's when myself, Hazel and T, and, I want to, shoot. Gator, help me here, man. My third host at the very beginning. Easy Gaming. Yes. Not Easy Gaming. Easy. And, I'll edit that out. We all three decided, hey, we want to keep this going. And the community was like, hey, we want to continue this. We want to have some gamer dads that still come back and we can listen to every week. And in fact, RNG Gator was in this community before I was. In fact, I remember coming into the Discord, not knowing really what Discord was, and they all labeled me the other Gator. So now he's the other Gator.
Especially since you spell it wrong.
Yeah. No. That's a play on words, right? But anyway, my point is that since then, I've not only learned how to podcast, I've learned how to record. I've learned how to edit audio. I learned how to put shows together. I think we put around, I want to say 175 shows. And then I decided, I think it was on Two Titans and a Hunter. I decided, you know what? I've had this YouTube just hanging around forever, just posting gameplays. I want to make some videos to help new players into this game that I love to play. So I got into video editing. I got into recording clips, putting them all together. I'm not the greatest YouTuber, as far as graphics and stuff. I'm learning slowly but surely, but it's a lot. And then finally, now today, I'm putting a live podcast stream together. All of these, everything you see on this stream right now, I put together by hand, and I've been fretting over it. Trust me. I hate learning new things sometimes. It's really frustrating, but because of getting into podcasting and to Destiny 2, I've come all this way where I'm kind of a big deal, guys. No, just kidding. But gaming in general, look at how much I know now, know how to do. I can actually I can create videos. I can create podcasts, which I love doing, by the way. I love interacting with chat. I like talking every day in the Discord. We have come a long way since just not even knowing what a damn podcast was. So there's a real life example of how gaming has helped me just through the years. And we're going into year 6 now of this podcast. So, all right. I'm off my high horse. Chet, Mike, you guys, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Gaming is
Arms
great.
of the Angel.
We love it. That's why we're here.
Well, you guys did great tonight. Thank you very much for hanging with me this first roundtable together. We're still trying to feel each other out a little bit. Pause. Right, son? We're kind of feeling each other's chemistry here and trying to put things together. And this show we're almost like we're starting again. We're starting like brand new. We're like the Phoenix coming from the ashes, We've always done audio only podcasts, and now here we are doing live streams every Friday. At least we're going to try to. So,
got to be scary for you. A whole big mix up here.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have rosacea. I'm Northern European, and my skin tends to blotch. So
I get red.
I've always been very, very, self-aware, about how I look on camera. So anytime you see me cover my mouth or doing this, it's because that's my insecurity of trying to cover something on my face. And, unfortunately I got it from my dad and my mom, and, I can't do anything about it. So yeah. Hey, Jimmy, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've messaged him a few times. He's still out there. He's doing good. Hazel's doing good. I have contacted him, and, he contacted me, reached out when Milton ran across Central Florida, and, yeah, he's doing good. He's doing good. So, yeah, all the best to Hazel. I don't know if he still listens or not. I really don't. I hope he does, but, yeah. All right. A few things I want to announce before we head out for tonight. Every week I like to give a shout out to a member of the week. This is someone that I've noticed more active in our Discord community, has gotten involved in our show, and just generally been a good person. As a reward, and a shout out on the show, they'll receive a special community member of the week role in our Discord with a nice little icon next to their name as well, representing the show. Our member shout out of the week has been a member for over 2 years now. He's been very active lately in the Discord, and I see him involved in the Guardian Downcast 2 clan every morning. And I see him jumping into community nights on occasion. So a shout out to Metal Mark. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. And congrats on being our member of the week. Special thank you to all of the patrons of our community. Over the years, they have been fantastic, keeping the show going, funding everything it takes to pay for our hosting fees, all the other extra services we use to run the community, the bots, all that stuff. Everything goes into a big pot, and our patrons take and cover all of that for us. And, that way we don't have to put any commercials in our ads or any of that garbage into our podcast. So thank you again to all our patrons, especially to our high level dungeon champion patrons. That would be Technical, Raffi, Deadpool 1 Merc, and Darth Noodle. Thank you to our raid boss patrons. That's Jealous, Frostbite, and Amazing Taco King. All right, some final thoughts before we go tonight. Now, this week was our first Roundtable episode with my new co-host, RNG Gator and Kingsley Mack. And, we're still kind of feeling out things and getting used to the new format of the show. So a big shout out to those guys. We had a lot to unpack in this week's episode. The topic of Bungie having a bug in the game concerning their RNG system, especially when it comes to weapon rolls in the game that everyone seems to have termed Wait Gate. I also mentioned the changes coming to Festival of the Lost, the Halloween event that is here every year. And they've really added some cool things this year that I will probably have me jumping in and to grind some more things like ornaments, masks, weapons, the new shotgun archetype, the heavy burst, and being able to purchase exotic class items, even if you haven't unlocked them by completing the dual destiny encounter in Final Shape. That is huge. And of course, the super black shader is back. I'll definitely be jumping on that since I missed my opportunity and Into the Light. So I'm really looking forward to jumping in for sure. And I believe it runs for at least 2 weeks, possibly 3. Don't hold me to that. As far as our topics of the roundtable tonight, what do you think about Call of Duty having a pay to listen better add-on? You going to pay for it if you're a hardcore Call of Duty fan? Also, Kingsley Mack mentioned the reverse gatekeeping that seems to develop when players move on or take a break from a certain game, which kind of also ties into a lot of real things in our lives. Do you guys agree with him? Lastly, I told my story of how gaming has done things for me to make life better as I get older in life. Has this translated to your life as well? Especially if you're older like me. Let us know in our Discord community. And you can always enter any feedback in our show feedback channel. And if you want to join up, it's discord.gg/Guardian Downcast if you want to join us. Just a reminder that we'll have another new show next week. We have a brand new guest on the show from our community, Just look for who it will be in our announcements channel of the Discord, and you will be able to send some questions for him as well. Just keep an eye out for it, and it'll also tell you where you can ask or present those questions for the show. And don't forget, we go live every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern if you want to join in and interact with us in real time. That's youtube.com/@ToddTheGator. That's 2 D's and GATR. That's a wrap. Another episode in our collection. For our new listeners out there, we have 274 episodes going on. Well, we're going into our 6th year now. Interviews from gamers from all over our community. So take a look at those if you're just finding out about us. And if you like what you hear, tell a friend about us. Everything's at guardiandowncast.com. Special thanks to my co-host RNG Gator and Kingsley Mack. You can find them in our Discord. They're both mods as well. I'll also have their links in the show notes down below if you would like to follow their socials. Great show tonight, guys. Really great show. And you know what? Let's just close out the show with another Scumdust Corner. Let's see what Uncle Scumdust's been up to in the UK this week. What's going on, Uncle Scumdust?
Hello, welcome to Scumdust Corner. I've had the week from hell due to my motorbike. I had my yearly MOT, which is from my motorbike, which is your yearly test to make sure it's roadworthy. And I knew my tyres were a bit low, so I needed to replace the tyres. So I went to a reputable tyre company. I said, yeah, just put the budget tyres on. And they said, oh, if you're riding in the winter and all that, you need to put these tyres on. So it cost me £330 for 2 tyres. So it's like, okay, yeah, no problem. So it's a lot of money for 2 tyres, but they are what attaches your motorbike to the road. So you might as well pay for the best. So I got the best on. And then after 7 miles, well, they said to me, we can do your MOT test, which is your safety test. So I'm like, we do it cheap. We do it £5 cheaper than where I usually go. And, which flags up really, because where I usually go, he lets me get away with quite a few bits. So I thought, I'll save a £5. Yeah, I'll let these, MOT it. So I left it there. Once I had the tyres done, like I said, I did 7 miles, took it back there, and then left it there. They did the MOT, and they said, oh, unfortunately, it failed the test because there's a nail in the tyre. And I'm like, and loads of other stuff. I'm like, what? A nail in the tyre? I've done 7 miles on that fucking tyre, in the rear tyre. They're like, oh, yeah. So when I looked, it wasn't a nail. It was a massive chunk of fucking metal. It's gone straight through my brand new 7-mile-old rear tyre. So I'm like, oh, with my old tyre, if there was a screw in it, you can get it plugged. If it's not in the sidewall, but yeah, they're like, no, with these tyres you got, they're so good that you can't plug them, and it's a big chunk of metal. So you need to buy a new tyre. So within 4 days of putting my new shoes on my motorbike, it's cost me £500. Oh, fuck. I'm like, you fucking what? And because I MOT'd it with them, I did the test with them, the safety check, they're like, they picked me up on everything. Everything. Oh, your number plate's a little bit too small than regulation. I had a copper behind me yesterday, or I had a copper behind me a couple of days before. He never pulled me up, so just like, oh, do you know what? Fuck off. So I put this other tyre on. That's £500 down. And then I took it to my mate who he looks over. My horn doesn't work on the motorbike. The number plate was a little bit too small for regulation. And what else was it? Oh, your chain's a little bit loose. And all this, just like, do you know what? Get fucked. So I took it to me, mate. He's like, leave it with me. Give it a couple of hours and give me a ring. Phoned him up. He's like, there you go. Give me £30. You got your MOT on your motorbike. I'm like, nice one, mate. It's £40. Happy days. So I'm completely road legal now. Not in the eyes of the law, but I've got an MOT certificate, which lets me ride my bike for the next year. It's all safe, it's not anything. It's like you got to have a light that illuminates your number plate, my small number plate. But that's not there, so who cares? If anyone comes up behind me, it's going to illuminate by their fucking headlights anyway, isn't it? It's just like, fucking stupid things. I know these tests are to keep you legal on the road, but, fuck off, innit? But yeah, so I've had a right nightmare of a week. It's cost me a shit ton of money. It's wiped out my bank account, and I've had to lend like 300 quid off my brother just to get through the fucking rest of the month. So, I've never been so skinned, but I've got some lovely shoes on my motorbike. Anyway, have I got anything else to say? I don't know. There's a few things, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you with that, and I love you all, and see you later. Bye. Yo.
Thank you, Uncle Scumdeath. Yeah, I know all about the vehicle repairs, brother. I just found out one of my rear disc brakes on my work truck was going metal to metal, and the shavings got so hot, they got into my mag rim and burnt holes into the rim. Yeah, that was my bad. Everyone, remember, as you're playing Final Shape, take breaks, get outside and touch grass. Jimmy Rayner. Everyone, remember, we're Guardian Downcast, your stories, your community, and your destiny. And be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
Guardians are measured by their ability to come back from defeat. So stand. Fight!
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian. Now we're going to be here for you guys. What do you guys want to talk about? We'll hang out for a little bit here, and anything you guys want to talk about our topics. You have any questions for us personally? I know you're not used to seeing these two guys next to me. Any questions for them?
Yeah.
Anything from the chat?
I'm trying to figure out what Jimmy meant with that comment to me. Didn't
go far back.
Didn't go that far back in the podcast. Did he go rip? What does that mean?
Oh, did Hazel go away? RNG Gator and Kingsley have been on this podcast almost since the beginning. Kingsley was on episode 8. Don't ignore all that bad sound, by the way. I was learning. And RNG Gator, I think, was 26, 29, something like that. If you can go to guardiandowncast.com, you can search for any of these two gentlemen right here, and it'll give you every episode they've been on. I put a lot of work into that website to make sure it's easy for you guys to find, to find our episodes, and if you want to go back and listen to certain guests that were on. We've had Ascendant Nomad on the show before. We've had Danfinity on a million times. We've had a lot of YouTubers on in the past, but I've kind of curtailed a lot of that, and I just enjoy talking with the community because these are the people I see every day. And I'm not saying that I won't bring on YouTubers in the Destinyverse in a future show, but let's just say I'm not gonna go chasing people. I just don't think that's just not a good look. So
well, and it's kind of a waste of time because it's hard to get a hold of them now. If anyone knows has a great contact and can give us a in, but yeah, it's a lot of work, and they probably aren't available anyways, right? But
I mean, the life of a YouTuber is rough. I've learned that the hard way. I've watched a lot of my favorite Destiny YouTubers that have to play other games because they got to feed their family, and they got to pay their bills. It's easy for me. I just go kill more bugs tomorrow, and I can got my bills covered. I can't rely on YouTube to pay my bills. Kingsley, what's going on in Player Support Report this week, man?
Yeah, some stuff is broken, but not that much. It could be worse.
Okay, I'll take it.